Hey y'all, welcome to Whip. Without further ado, let's review some games. First up, I played Moonlighter on the Switch. There have been a bunch of dungeon crawlers in the last few years, but none where you also run a shop, selling what you picked up in the dungeons you explored previously. In this game, your character runs the Moonlighter, a shop that is open during the day, leaving you the night to get more wares and sleep when you can, just like real life. The game is a lot of fun at first, but slowly becomes a bit repetitive as resources needed to upgrade equipment and weapons are few and far between, and the core game mechanics end up being repeated a lot, with only slight color palette swaps and other small changes. If you want something a little different from your usual dungeon crawler, step into Moonlighter, even if it's just to browse. I give this game 7 out of 10. Up next, Mages of Mystralia. This is the Switch version. Are you one of those people who feels Breath of the Wild is a little too open world when it comes to being a Zelda game, and long for the days of more linear, top-down affair? Well, this game does a pretty good job at being a fun little adventure game, just like the old Zeldas. You are Zia, an apprentice magician, having recently learned of your abilities and must embark on a quest to acquire new magic powers and untangle a sinister plot that you encounter during your travels. The spells can be modified by special runes. The puzzles are interesting, and the game is pretty fun, albeit a little stiff and with a smidge of the generic. Maybe this will be good enough to cast a spell on you if you give it a shot. I give this one 7.5 out of 10. Giana Sisters Twisted Dreams Owltimate Edition for the Switch. Back in the late 80s, bedroom coders used the basics of the first Super Mario Bros. And created the ultimate Mario knockoff, the great Giana Sisters, which, while decently received at the time, supposedly came under fire from Nintendo, which made physical copies of the game a rare collector's item. Several years later, the sisters returned with a new look, personalities, and most important of all, a new gameplay mechanic where Giana, the main sister, can switch between punk and cute versions of herself, with different special abilities, as well as being able to collect different colors depending on which costume she's wearing. At first I thought you were playing as both sisters, but no, you're only playing as Giana, who can switch between different forms, to save her sister Maria. The levels are inventive, and even with some cheap depth, the game is still a lot of fun. The enemy designs are a little bit on the boring side, and the aesthetics of the level lack a bit of variety, but all in all, this is a far cry from the first game in the series, which was really just an old Super Mario ripoff. 7.5 out of 10. Farming Simulator 19 for the PS4. I have the hardest time when it comes to simulator games, as previously stated in another video. I usually find that they are clunky and unwieldy and hard to learn for no valid reason, and I feel that this game is no exception. However, doing my best to remain objective, the graphics are very good, the variety of farming equipment is there, and the game has a decent presentation and a friendly pace. I found myself mostly just plowing fields and killing time, but the mission and objectives are usually very well detailed and plotted out. If you are a fan of previous installments, not a lot is different here, and I am assured you will enjoy the heck out of this version, what with the new updates, like being able to drive a John Deere vehicle for the first time. Give this one 7 out of 10. And finally, Far Cry New Dawn for the PS4. When I finished Far Cry 5, I felt satisfied after a campaign that was just shy of wearing out its welcome, but the ballsy ending, which was the good ending by the way, made for an interesting direction in which to take the series. Not even a year later, Ubisoft releases this continuation of the Joseph Seed story, and I gotta say, it's better than I thought it would be. Adopting RPG elements from their previous release, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, such as health point numbers over enemies' head and a more immersive map, the game offers a wide variety of activities and tasks and is, as any game in the Far Cry series, heck, any open-world Ubisoft game in the last few years, a lot of fun at first, but then eventually trickles down into tedium as the coats of paint feel less and less fresh with each successive task. It's a fun game to play in short bursts, but it does wear out its welcome. It is exactly what you think it will be, with a fun rebellious punk rock attitude and some tied to FPS controls, but ultimately comes off as an extensive DLC for Far Cry 5. It's not a bad game, just not a fresh one, as we've seen everything this game offers before several times, even if a couple areas of the game sprinkles some Fallout-style post-apocalyptic ideas here and there. The rest of the game's lush forest and visuals feel exactly like the previous game, right down to the funky flora. The entry price is decent though, so I gotta say go for it, just don't expect more than the same. I give this one 7.5 out of 10. Well, that was it for today, folks. So thanks for watching, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time in another episode of Whip, What Have I Played? Oh yeah.